If you're gonna click with any Annabelle movie, this is the one. Hey, what's up guys, it's Josh here. Today I want to do a review on Annabelle Creation. Now, to be honest with you guys, I'm just starting this movie channel. You guys don't really understand my movie taste yet, but I really do enjoy scary movies. I really enjoyed The Conjuring. Annabelle comes from the Conjuring Universe. I actually watched the first Annabelle and absolutely hated it. I don't remember the story. I do not want to rewatch it. I just remember I don't ever want to see that movie again. I was looking up recently that there was 2 new Annabelles. I couldn't believe there was 2. I thought there was only 1 because, like I said, as soon as I saw that first Annabelle, I was like, get this out of here. I really just did not like it. The ratings on the second and third one were higher than the first one across the board, so I'm like, okay, it's not going to be as bad as the first one, because that first one, I don't remember anything about it, but I'm just absolutely do not want to watch that one again. I also watched the third Annabelle 2 after this, and I was going to do a movie review on both these. I think that I like the second one, Annabelle Creation, this movie a little bit more. I think it's the best of the Annabelle franchise, and because it's the best, I have the most to talk about. It's not a perfect film, so I have a lot of things I like and a lot of things I don't like. I did like the setting a little bit. It's like a group of girls that go into this kind of like half desert style house. The setting of this movie is a little bit different. It's kind of like a big house. It's not full on desert, but it's not rural either. It's just a good setting for a different style feel, and it definitely accomplishes that in my opinion. This movie could have definitely been 5 to 15 minutes shorter. I think it's almost 2 hours, and there's just a lot of times that were kind of slow or boring or just didn't really hit right for me. But then this movie also would go really fast and really good at other times, so I really feel like it could have been 5 to 15 minutes shorter. This movie has lots and lots of female roles. Maybe if you're a female, you could connect with these characters a little bit more, and it's based on like a female doll. There's so many different kinds of female characters in this movie, almost endless, and there's only one male character in this movie. So for me, as somebody trying to connect with a character, he was one of the only ones I could really connect with, but I did actually really like his role. If you're a female, maybe you could connect with these characters a little bit differently or in a different way than I did, because there's so many female characters in this movie. It's definitely female dominant. It's a more complete film than Comes Home. I was just saying that right there. So let's jump into the pros of this movie. The pros is that the scenery feels different. I was just saying that before. I didn't really notice this until I watched Annabelle Comes Home, but Annabelle Comes Home was just so repetitive, and it kind of killed the Warren's house to me because it was just so boring and the same thing over and over. I really did like the setting that they had for this. It has a different feel and really feels like you're watching the creation story. They had a few clever scenes. This movie zigzags in between like really clever scene that I like, boring scene, clever scene, boring scene. That's just for me personally, and thankfully the clever scenes kept happening. They did a good job of showing the power of Annabelle. Like, I don't really remember what happened in the original Annabelle. I just remember that it wasn't scary, it wasn't impressive to me. Annabelle is kind of weird because they kind of make it seem like it attracts spirits, so it's not really one spirit, and that's why I liked with this one, because it's the creation of Annabelle, so you see how the spirit came, and it's kind of a story you could wrap your head around, versus Annabelle's just attracting random spirits, so you don't really know who the villain is. I kind of like in this one, it's more specifically Annabelle. It's not just random spirits, so I really like that. And they actually made Annabelle seem by far the most scary they've ever made her seem, and they actually made it seem if you're watching an Annabelle movie, some crazy things could happen, and she could be way more powerful than you ever thought, so I really like that. Some of the little girls and the main husband had some really good acting. Some of the acting in this movie was so-so, but some of the acting was really good. Like I was saying, the main male character, some of the little kids also had really good acting as well. It was kind of either, there was no bad acting, it was either really good or just okay, but nothing bad. Some watch-worthy scares and ideas for sure. There's a lot of repeats, but there was a few times where they did something I wasn't expecting at a time I wasn't expecting that I really enjoyed, and they kind of took it places I wasn't expecting. I also really enjoyed that. This movie covers a lot of time. It starts off with the very opening scene, and then they move however many years later to when the girls come, and even at the end there's a very long extended finale to this to really give you full complete story, which is what I want. I want the biggest Annabelle experience that you could get, and that's what you get with this one. They really do a lot to make it almost like the only Annabelle movie you should ever see. And the last thing I liked was that they used the real Annabelle doll at the end, kind of tying in this crazy, more scary looking doll that we've come to know, she comes across the actual Annabelle doll that is supposed to be possessed in real life. I thought that was a really good way to tie in the real Annabelle with the Annabelle movie. The cons, some of the characters were poorly written / acted. The oldest lead nun, I'm not really saying it was the actor's fault or the actress's fault or the writers. It just kind of felt like some of these characters are there to be annoying and waste time and not serve anything towards the story. So oldest girl and the oldest nun I really didn't like. They were just kind of bland, mean. I feel like they could have done something else. The main oldest girl, she was the worst. The nun, like I was saying, halfway through, maybe near the end, her character got a lot better for me. And half the scenes were boring and repetitive. Like I said, this movie literally goes from good scene to boring scene to good scene to boring scene. Like, again, I'm a male, so maybe some of these female scenes you could kind of connect with or understand more if you're a female. Because it was so long, I feel like they could have cut it out and made it just a little bit more punchy. I really don't like the oldest girl, and there's this one scene, I'm not going to spoil it, but she pretty much all of a sudden has this side quest thing where something else is coming after her, and it wastes 5 minutes. If you cut the whole scene out, it really would do nothing because nothing really happens. It just, I didn't really like that character. Certain scenes you could have cut out. Kind of gets crazy near the middle and end, and then the very end is kind of a little bit more smooth, not as crazy. I wish the climaxes were at the very end. So there's a scene with the only male character holding a cross. That's really one of the biggest scenes. I really wish the climax was at the end and not in the middle. They use the same possession technique as The Conjuring, which I really didn't like. One ghost gets one person alone and they do this thing where they kind of like and they just shoot this darkness into the other person's mouth, and then that person's possessed. It makes sense. You're like, okay, this is the possession taking over, but I've just seen it so many times that it kind of got boring. Those are my cons. They're definitely my favorite from the Annabelles. I would rate this movie a 7 out of 10. With horror movies, I kind of give everything a bump. So if it was a horror movie kind of thing, I would give this an 8 out of 10. As far as all movies, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It's definitely worth watching in my opinion. It's by far the best Annabelle movie. It has a lot of boring parts, so there is some people who are going to watch it and just not click with it. I understand, but if you're going to click with any Annabelle movie, this is the one. So this is the one I'll recommend. I don't know if I would own it yet, but if I was going to own anyone, I would get Annabelle, and I would get this one for sure if I was going to own any of them. Let me know if you've seen Annabelle Creation. Let me know what your favorite Annabelle movie is, and let me know what movie I should review next. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I couldn't do without any of your guys' help. You guys are the best. I'm having a great day out here. Hopefully you're having a great day at home. See you all in the next video. Peace.